and welcome to Season 2, Episode 7 of STOked, the Star Trek online podcast that your grandmother won't let you listen to. My name is Brian, with me is Chris.
Hey there, Brian.
All right, so
I'm not here, apparently.
let's dive right. Well, Jeremy's here today, but here's the thing. Pre-show, me and Jeremy played a little bit of the game, you see.
Well,
And
I've been playing.
and
Brian has been stumbling through it.
I don't know what's happening, but someone's meat hole keeps flapping over there. So apparently, I don't play video games ever because I have a few issues with Star Trek Online. Ridiculous, crazy, I know, right?
Brian, you're such a hater.
So Jeremy's a little upset. So I've decided, you know what? Jeremy doesn't exist unless I'm referring to his meat hole for the next at least 7 minutes. At least 7 minutes, that's what's
So
happening.
we should say this is another episode we're doing. It's kind of a light style. People seem
You
to
hear
like
me?
that.
7.
What? My name's Meathole.
Yes, sir.
So people seem to like the loose format. If we always want to hear your feedback on this. So let us know. What we're going to do in this episode is while we do the show, we're going to be doing an explorer mission.
A patrol.
A patrol, and you can see Brian is equipped with his Connie, and Jeremy here is going to be equipped with his Constitution class. I'll be coming with my science ship because I'm going to mostly try to drive the show as we go. I'll just join up with them from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, should we jump into the big show?
Absolutely. What do we got to cover today?
All right, well, our first news story is the official announcement of Tribble. Now, this is something we talked about last episode. We've actually talked about it a little while. Because it's kind of a big deal.
Well, for us.
It gives gamers out there that are really into the game a chance to go jump into the stuff that's coming out down the road. Mm-hmm. So if you want to know how, it's actually a great opportunity to test the respec option they're adding soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which, by the way, is incredibly buggy and needs a lot of testing. So if you're interested in it, hop over there and submit your bug reports so they can see them. Now, that's one of my favorite parts about Tribble, though, is presumably it's a direct line to the developers making these things.
Oh,
they're
that's
looking
way cool,
for
yeah.
direct feedback. So
Yeah.
that's what they're going to be paying attention to. Are you following me, by the way?
No,
you're not.
I'm flying a different direction
I
as
don't
you right
know,
now, Jeremy.
Okay.
I don't know which one of you guys is team lead, but if you want to send me an invite, that'd be cool.
That's
me.
me.
So one of the other things that's up on Trouble right now is the new Cure mission, the Cure episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a chance to play that last night.
I did, just
What'd you
last
think?
night.
It's not even out in production yet. How was it? First of all, it's on Tribble. That's the test server. Was it buggy?
Not so much. Now we weren't able to complete it because it's very difficult, and we just didn't feel like banging our heads on it all night.
Yeah.
We got probably, I would guess, about halfway through it, and didn't really encounter all that many bugs. But it's hard to
That's not bad.
in a situation where you're playing very difficult content. It's sometimes difficult to separate the bugs from the balance issues and figure out which is going on.
Yeah.
So I would say it's not polished.
So
it needs more work, but it's
Is there
fun.
any space combat in this episode?
Yeah, again, it starts with space combat. Do you want me to go ahead and give a little description of it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
When you warp in, you see the IKS Kang, who you will run across in several other missions, being attacked by a swarm of Borg. Apparently, the Klingon strike force was trying to go and save this planet, and they failed. And the Kang is the only ones left remaining when you get there. So you defeat the Borg, save the Kang, and then they tell you the next part of the mission, which is to beam down and do some stuff.
now that's where the bulk of the mission takes place, is on the ground.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like what, 10% space, if that.
To start with. Now it looks like when you also warp in, there's a number of space docks that are protected by shields. You don't have to do anything with them, so that I'm assuming that after you finish the ground combat portion, you'll beam up and take care of those in some way. But again, we didn't get that far.
Oh, you kind of got stuck to a spot where it was just automatically resetting itself all the time, right? Where you had an objective to accomplish, and if
that's the new mini game. Just like in Infected, which we'll cover a little bit more tomorrow. There are certain game mechanics that they put in that are kind of like mini games, require a lot of group coordination, and the one in the Cure is more difficult than the one that's in Infected.
Interesting.
And one of the things they've done to up the difficulty is they've made a lot of your shield effects not work properly.
Yes.
So if you have like
cover shields and force fields do not work on the planet's surface, or they work but very briefly.
Yeah. What do you think? Is that a cheap way to make the game harder?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah?
When I saw that, I was like, they couldn't just. Come on.
But it's not so on Star Trek that for some
storyline
reason the transporters don't work, or
yeah, absolutely. They do that kind of stuff all the time in the show.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You want to throw in artificial things to hinder your progress. That's fine.
Yeah. Otherwise, when Sulu was down on the planet freezing, they just would have sent a shuttle down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you gotta
Dude,
think
why
about
didn't
that.
they do that?
They didn't have-
Sulu was cold, yo.
They didn't have the shuttle built yet.
He was freezing cold.
They
had
would
the
have.
shuttle built. They had the shuttle
They
built.
just couldn't
They
find Sulu.
They totally
That's the
did.
problem.
They didn't have it built yet for the series.
They totally did. They just made that up.
Well, maybe they just want to watch Sulu
They just
freeze.
wanted to Sulu get cold because they're a bunch of racists.
You know,
Everybody hates Sulu.
George
Oh
Takei
my.
has said that William Shatner was rough to work with. Maybe this was, maybe
Because he kept sending him to planets to
Yeah,
freeze to death.
exactly.
That's
seriously,
exactly
that'd be
why.
friggin' rough to
Yeah.
work on. I'm sorry.
You got my back, buddy? Yeah, okay.
I guess
see.
I'm coming to hang out with you.
All right.
What's this?
I do kind of want to just watch it blowed up though.
What's this about the March Madness developer showdown program?
You know,
Well, that's when they
let's
play
ask
basketball.
Brian. Yeah,
because
because this is a sports thing, and Brian does sports now.
Yeah, no, college basketball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all I know actually. March Madness.
That's actually all I know as well. But it's some sort of
NCAA or something like that.
it's some sort of a developer thing that's a take on the basketball tournaments. That's like trying to determine who the best developer in the world is. And
What?
Cryptic was nominated at the number 4 seed spot. I think that means that they're like the fourth,
That seems like a good thing to me.
assumed to come in 4th place, I think, is what that means.
Okay.
But then the actual, I'm not really sure. The link is up in our show notes if you want more information.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. My laptop is not playing the game super great, so I'm going to keep talking about show stuff. Season 1, Common Ground, the first big update for Star Trek Online
All right.
has been announced.
Why is it that tab targeting does not target the little Raider fighter dudes? That's friggin' annoying.
I think it does. And we set this up once before for you so that it would target nearest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it depends on there. You can have
Target nearest doesn't target Raider fighters.
your target options are like person that is the most threat, person that's nearest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the person that is nearest because come on, that just makes sense.
Right.
Doesn't work for Raider fighters. It automatically jumps out to things way far away.
Oh, so when you're doing nearest, Raider fighters aren't included.
I think it's probably actually more likely that your system got reset somehow, your options. Because you're playing on a different computer. We've already said some options don't save.
What's the deal with that? Some options save
I know.
locally to your computer. Some options just save to your account.
There you have it.
Friggin' weird.
Yeah.
Like right now, mouse inverted.
Mm-hmm.
My mouse is
Because
inverted
that's the one that Brian was
Right.
playing on.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't play with mouse inverted because I'm not hardcore, as they say.
Right.
You're not hard. You don't play with mouse inverted?
As they say.
I do actually on some like flight sims.
That's the way to go, man. You gotta go mouse inverted.
On flight sims, I do.
Yeah.
Which
The only-
this is kind
It's
of
a flight sim.
sim.
Why
The
don't you
reason
play
that I
mouse
don't
inverted?
is because there's also ground combat, and I found that if I was
That's
using flight inverted, then I found I was looking the wrong way on the ground.
Same.
See, I'm the same, except I just ignore all ground missions, stop playing at that point, and go find another space mission because
What's-
the ground combat is so boring in Star Trek Online. It makes me want to kill
What
myself.
system? What sector are you in? I should say?
Cassay in the servant system.
Servant system.
Yeah, we're doing the Cassay
Is that the
patrol.
serious?
We were
Regulus.
serving
Oh, okay.
something. Yeah.
All right. So moving right along. So season 1, Common Ground, the first big content.
This is
update.
the 45-day patch, isn't it?
This would be, I think, what
I
we're
think
going to
so.
call. This is not what's been it has not been labeled as.
Right.
This is the 45-day patch, but the timing works out such that it must be what they're talking about. Also,
Awesome.
what do you guys think? What is your thought on calling these content updates seasons? You got episodes for games.
I kinda
Then
dig
new
it.
batches of episodes are called seasons.
I like it.
Does that mean that
I
we've been
like it.
playing the pilot this whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of
Captain the women.
does. It does kind of imply that, doesn't it?
I
guess
think
so.
that's exactly what it is, dude.
It does, but I like them called seasons, but it's a little, I think, a bit of a misnomer to call it season 1. But I don't know what they would
Yeah,
say
this
instead.
totally is the pilot or the pre-pilot.
This
Well,
is pre-production.
What I like is that what I like about it is that it infers
Seriously, dude.
it infers a lot of content updates.
It
I like that
does.
a lot too. Yeah. And honestly,
Or it
I really
infers
like,
that it'll get to season 3 and get canceled like Enterprise.
Yeah.
Don't say that. That's awful. Ton of cool stuff.
Actually, I think it was 5. I don't remember really.
I think it was,
Shantytown. Is that on Tribble yet? I'd love to try. playing
Yes.
it. Yeah.
This is a new PvP
Really?
map that we've seen some pictures of. I think we showed in the last episode. It looks really cool. It looks very ambient, very rundown.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of atmosphere to it. But the
Right.
problem is that on Tribble, nobody's PvPing.
what?
So you can get in the queue for as long as you want. You're never going
Here's
to
the
get a
thing,
map
is
spawned.
I think because it's Tribble, so it's just people testing.
Yeah.
I think that's going to change in a big way with one of the updates in season 1 called War Games. Federation players can now participate
Nice.
in player versus player
mostly about
against other
fishing.
feds.
Whopper.
No.
DEFCON.
No.
It's a good movie though.
So
Yeah.
now
But no.
No, seriously, if they incorporated, dude,
Weren't we just talking
A
about Matthew
Matthew
Broderick
Broderick.
last? This is the second episode in a row that we've got on Matthew Broderick.
Well, what can you do, man? It's a topic that needs to be discussed.
So
Apparently.
yeah.
What do you guys think? Federation, you can now do. You're going to be able to do soon. Federation versus other Federation players in PvP.
I'm torn. On the one hand, I like the idea because I think it'd be fun for our fleet to go up against each other, and we are primarily Federation.
Yep.
On the other hand, it means that Klingons will have to go up against other Klingons because what sort of Fed wants to fight a Klingon when they
Dude,
can
Klingons
instead
do
fight
that all the
Federation that are
time.
more
That's
balanced?
true.
They're in the same ships.
Klingon versus Klingon, canon.
Yeah,
Yeah, that works fine.
but Klingons would rather play against Federation. And a lot of Feddies don't seem to be wanting to play against Klingons, especially as admirals, because as I mentioned a few shows ago, the Vokuvs are a little bit overpowered in PvP.
But isn't
So-
that supposed to be? Isn't the counterbalance to the Vokuvs being too powerful? Is the Dauntless class or is it the Dauntless, or is it the Dreadnought class? It's supposed
Feds
to be
don't have. Oh yeah, they've been talking
they've been
about the
talking
possibility.
introducing a new. Now it's just rumor. That,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not confirmed, but there is a possibility that the Federation might be getting a Dreadnought in the near future.
Really?
Which would take
Hope-
a
kinda rad.
Hopefully, as cool as the name is, I really hope it's not the Jupiter. That is one of the ugliest ships I've ever seen.
But it's named after Jupiter Broadcasting.
I do like ships named after Jupiter Broadcasting,
Me
so that
too.
is good for me.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about, since this is kind of it kind of ties in with rumors.
Okay.
Craig Zinkovich, the executive producer of Star Trek Online.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he
Oh, yeah.
recently did another State of the Game post.
Mm-hmm.
And
You know, before we actually go into what he said, I want to say that last time I kind of harshed on the fact that it was a very sort of a very casual way of doing things. I
Like
didn't
we're
think
doing
that
right
it was, Yeah, I've changed my mind. I really like it. So any harshness that I gave the last time around, I was just being harsh.
well,
You're
here's
being
what,
a jerk, is what
Yeah.
you're doing.
here's what he covered in.
Geez, don't you like Star Trek Online, Jeremy?
No, I mean, yes.
Win.
Here's what he, here's what he covered in this State of the Game. Really, it was more about the infected going live, which we all know about that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that he talked a lot about is changing to a much more transparent type of communication with the community.
Yeah.
But it actually sounds legitimate. It doesn't sound like it's just obnoxious lip service. It actually sounds like it's going to be real types of updates, like actual calendar release dates.
The engineering reports.
What they're currently working on, the top bugs. They've really doubled up their communication in the forums with the community.
Yeah.
These game posts, it's essentially it's a full level of, we're shooting for this content release on this week. Now, how many game manufacturers do you know that say, yeah, we're planning to have the update for our video game available on April 13th?
Oh, Blizzard does that all the time, right?
Actually, a lot of game manufacturers actually do that.
Single,
I don't know.
Actually,
standalone
most-
titles.
Most
For
MMOs
release,
do that.
for the game release. No.
No.
I mean, the
For-
way
for
the
game
way they're
updates?
they're talking about when you're going to
Well,
see
now
specific quests.
let me
in addition to
qualify
the
this.
game.
It might be most titles, but it's not the biggest titles that do that.
Oh, okay. All
Well, and
right.
a lot of titles
That's-
do
that's
it.
fair.
A lot
Yeah.
of titles do it when they're launching. But then once they're launched, they shut up because they're worried about affecting future subscriber base, and they're worried that if they don't miss that April 13th deadline, that there'll be this
They'll
massive
get
backlash,
upset,
and they
yeah.
all freak out and they all get all corporate on it.
Now, to be
And they all
fair,
shut down.
Cryptic is probably going to get backlash when they miss their dates, but they're trying to address that by, flat out saying, we're going to miss some of these dates.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Right.
Be forewarned. These are best efforts.
Right.
And
Which is nice. I like it.
It's
And-
nice of them to be, again, transparent like
well,
that.
and the flip side is if they hit
Yep.
the dates, then they are almost, not quite, but they're almost introducing a new episode every week.
Yeah.
So that means
See, that I
every
like.
week we get new content. And even if I'm way behind, because like right now,
And
I'm
not just a
Commander 10,
single episode, because coming in the 45-day patch, the Klingons are getting explore missions, which is potentially thousands of missions.
And
Now, what would be really great is if every week that they release a new episode, they told you how to friggin' find that episode.
Yeah.
That would be kind of
actually, that's
handy.
one of the big complaints that we had last night on
Kind
The
of
Cure is one of our
freaking
guys
handy.
couldn't even get the mission, but he was still able to participate somehow.
Yep.
And we just couldn't figure out why he couldn't get it. The rest of us were able to pick it up just fine.
now, I guess what I find interesting, and it's kind of a game changer for me in a way, looking at the Klingons. Talking about the Klingons, I have a Klingon. I went in, created a Klingon, and I've literally never logged back.
Isn't that the one you named Boba Fett?
Boba Fett, yeah.
It's a great name
And
for a Klingon.
Boba Fett is.
I like that a lot.
I just figured if I wanted to do PvP,
Yeah.
I can play my Federation character. If I want to do exploration missions, I can play my Federation character.
Yep.
Why waste time on a Klingon, right? But now what they're
Truth.
talking about doing To me, the Klingons seem like a nice to have. If I got really burnt out on the Fed side, I'd jump
And it's
over.
because they were
Yeah.
launched
Yeah,
as an
pretty much.
incomplete faction. They really were.
There was no
Yeah.
incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Their outfits are really cool, though. I honestly like them better.
one of the things they're doing in this season 1
They're
update
cooler.
is the Klingons are going to get access to some of the fleet actions that the Feds have access
coming.
to now, like breaking the ground and the crystalline entity. That alone, being able to destroy the crystalline entity in a Klingon bird of prey makes me, because all you have to do is have a captain level Klingon, and you can get to captain quick as a Klingon.
You can.
So all I want to do
That
Within
is
one
pretty
day of
cool.
gameplay, you're lieutenant commander.
I
Usually.
want to jump over to the Klingons now, and I want to get my guy leveled up so I can take on the crystalline entity in a bird of prey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds flying around.
Now,
that
granted,
thing-
I think it's going to be even tougher because
Yeah.
Klingons tend to focus on
Oh,
cannons
but
forward
I'd
facing.
be a
but-
Klingon.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Yeah, there is that. You got that going
It would
for
suck running from shards and not being able to have
not be able to
my most
fire,
powerful
yeah.
weapons in the rear.
you. Right.
Yeah.
But still.
Interesting enough. So we were just watching on the live stream. We were just rerunning episode 15 of Stoked, where the basic entire premise of the episode is: will Star Trek Online, will it survive 2010? And our a general consensus in that episode was
They need
if
to talk
they
to us.
open up the communication.
Yeah.
They're too shut down. They're trying to do this weird messaging
Yeah.
that's not working. And
At the time, they were barely talking to us, and the tiny little tantalizing details that they would give us were teasers
well,
at best.
And
now that was in beta, so
that was
Yeah,
beta.
that was
I'm sure they
totally
were
in
heads
beta.
down and all that stuff.
Beta, you know,
Right.
you don't have to talk all that much to
well, and they were
everybody.
under their own NDA, and I think we even mentioned that in the episode. But still, the fact that they didn't get this instituted immediately after launch, you know, it took it so long. I'm glad to see it now, but they really should have done this a long time
Well,
ago.
I mean, we're talking day, 38 here.
Well, why didn't they do it 38 days ago?
Probably because they were busy launching their massively multiplayer game.
Oh, is that what they were doing?
They were a little busy. They
Oh.
were a little preoccupied.
I'm just saying that.
You know, speaking of
what they-
spending their
what-
resources on new things, have you seen that? You've probably seen that video that they put out, the
Yeah.
expanding universe, I think
Yeah,
it's called.
yeah.
And you and I had mentioned this before. They put a lot of production value into that.
Definitely up. The expanding the universe looks a lot better. It's It's if you go to Star Trek Online, you go to their media section, you can see their videos. And Craig Zinkovich essentially did a little mini self-interview, I guess you could
Yeah.
call it. And he explained some of the stuff he did in his State of the Game post,
Right.
which obviously we're big fans of communication through video. So
Yes.
I guess that goes a little bit without saying. Hey, I'm glad I arrived. just in
Success.
time- I arrived just in time to get credit for that mission. That's awesome.
Nice job, man.
Um,
We can depart the system on your command, sir.
Yeah.
Should we depart the system?
Let's do it when we're not in red alert, so it actually lets me leave. Yeah, there we go.
I was able to go just fine.
Yeah, you weren't
didn't
red
have a
alert.
problem there.
No. All right.
And
So,
I'm
but
stuck.
the one thing I'm a little worried about, maybe this is just me being paranoid, but the fact that they spent so much time on that video, couldn't they?
Yes,
have
I
been
want to
spending-
leave the system.
Well,
Friggin' A.
I told you were in red alert. You can't do it when you're in red alert.
I wasn't.
here's the thing: we don't know exactly how much time they spent on.
No, and it might have been actually
they
a
might-
contract through another company or something. It took
Craig
nothing
might have,
away.
Craig might have
Yeah.
walked down the street, sat down at Joe's video production,
Right.
and then walked out. 15
Joe's
minutes later.
video production.
And like I said, maybe it was just
Now,
me being
I
a
wanna
little
be clear
paranoid.
here.
But
We are not dogging on Joe's video production.
No,
down
Joe's
the
a good
street from
guy.
Cryptic headquarters.
Joe is a good guy.
Joe has some of the best video production next to Cryptic headquarters available
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time,
within walking distance of Cryptic headquarters.
that's generally true.
Yeah.
disclaimer: Joe does not exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying that if you were to go to Joe's video production next to cryptichq.com, it's not a terrible website.
It'll be a picture of Brian going,
What's happening?
"Let's head to the Cernan
Brian,
system
strangely named
with a
Joe.
C."
Heading to the Cernan system.
All right, so we had hoped that maybe we would see Cryptic announce the survey results from the. player
Okay.
Yeah,
surveys
yeah,
that-
yeah.
Hold up for a second.
What?
It's the year like 87,005,003,
Definitely.
right?
Give or take, yeah.
We have really nice computers, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
So if you get a mission from Starfleet that says something like "Go to the Cernan system," right?
Yeah, I like certain systems.
If you had that super advanced computer, couldn't you just say "computer plot a course for Cernan system"?
Do you want me to show you how to do it?
No, I know. Do it, but I'm just saying it's right here. Click, click, go. Oh, I can't.
No, you have to
I
go
have
into
to
your map.
go into your
interface.
map.
yeah.
But that's
Basically, you
just
have
like
to do
saying-
you have to do it like you did on like a
you're-
pirate ship.
You're saying that
like
you would
back in
rather-
the
They should
1700s.
hyperlink the system.
Well,
Yeah.
that would mean that Starfleet could just say, "Hey, Troy, you got to head over to the Cernan system. Here's the coordinates. We're changing your comm. You have no choice in the matter. Go."
No, you make the system name clickable.
Whereas
Yeah.
in this way,
Just make it easy, because I mean the functionality of going to the map, clicking
Yeah.
on the thing is there. Obviously, they want me to go to that place on the map.
all you're
so
gonna
you would
do
just
is-
rather
click.
have,
Because all
Show
he's
me the
going
map,
to do
go.
is he's just going to hit M and then he's going to go click anyway. So you
Right.
might as well
Yeah.
just-
Why not make it easier? That's all I'm saying.
and just have the
All I'm
interface
saying.
directly from the Quest thing.
Right.
It might
Come
help
on.
with people that can't find stuff a lot.
Computer.
Yeah,
go.
it would.
I like
Yeah.
it.
All right.
So moving on, the survey
Enter the
results.
Cernan system.
Yes, and this was mentioned at the bottommost of the state of the game thing. He showed us the
Yes.
survey results.
Just a casual link.
Mm-hmm.
Just a casual link. Do you guys want to take unless do you remember what the numbers were?
I
of
didn't
how
even
many?
look at it.
All right.
Well, here's the thing: is he mentioned approximately 40,000 people took the survey. That
Holy
seems kind of
moly.
low.
No.
No.
We put
I
out a
took the
survey.
survey.
We put out a survey, and if say 70,000 people downloaded an episode of Linux Action Show, we asked them to put out a survey. We literally got 1,200 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if they got 40,000.
Yep.
So the general like market research response is 1 to 2% of your audience will respond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
pretty small.
Yeah.
So even if that was 4%, that's a pretty good following there.
Yeah, that's not bad.
God, that's gorgeous. Look at that background.
Yeah, isn't that great? I know. I just had to stop for a second. I'm like, okay, that looks really pretty.
So let's play a little game. You guys guess. Don't read my screen.
All right,
you
all right.
guys
Okay.
guess what
Okay.
people picked as the top.
Give us
Okay.
the
All
top
right.
three and
So
let us guess which one
The
is the number one.
desired gameplay features. Do you suppose people
Okay.
wanted more ship interiors? They wanted more first contact type missions, or do you suppose they wanted?
Wait a minute. Like you go down to the surface of Earth and like get drunk with people type
Yeah.
missions?
Yeah, for the first time ever with that race. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
Or more bridge functionality.
What's
what-
more bridge functionality?
So your options are
like being able to.
No, that was the question. That was
Oh,
all
okay.
the question stated. Bridge functionality.
Bridge
All right.
functionality.
You think that was the number one? What do you think?
No, I would guess it was probably interiors. A lot of people
Yeah.
have asked for them.
Yeah,
All right.
ship interiors.
18% of respondents said the desired gameplay feature is additional ship interiors. Good call.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is that these are really evenly split.
They are. 18% said bridge, 17%, or I mean,
Wow,
18%
yeah.
said ship
Look at
interior,
that.
Yeah.
17% said bridge, 17 said
cold in
first
here.
contact. All right.
You're wearing a jacket.
It's cold in here.
I know,
dude.
I turned
and
off
these
the heater.
cans are cold activated.
That's right.
You can tell by the mountains.
All right. So the question was said, what do you want?
Oh, I looked at the answers.
I didn't.
Did you?
I'm good
Just
to
a
go.
little bit.
All right. Well, then I'll make Brian guess.
Bring it,
All right.
bring it on.
Desired Star Trek feature.
Right. Not,
Right.
not of the game, but something that you would see in a show
Okay,
or a
okay.
movie.
All right,
that
I'm
you
with
want.
More notable Star Trek locations. So iconic Star Trek locations.
Okay.
Would you think they wanted more aliens and planet discovery?
Okay.
Or do you think they asked for additional bridge combat?
What?
Like being
Bridge
able to
combat.
fight from your bridge.
Yeah, battles.
like battle
no,
on
no,
your
no,
bridge.
Like invite people over and have a battle on your bridge is how I assumed.
Those are kind of fun. We used to do that a lot.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you
I don't
think people
understand.
said?
I have no idea what a battle on my bridge would be. So like a Klingon
Like your ship
beams
gets invaded?
into your bridge and you're inside just the bridge room.
Or the Borg invade and you fight them off your bridge.
Yeah.
But this bridge is just one room.
Right.
What's the bridge look like in the Connie?
It's not the original Connie.
Oh,
It's the
that'd be
Miranda
cool.
Bridge.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I have a cool bridge. You guys want to see my bridge?
Sure.
All right, I'll bring up my bridge while we do it.
You know,
while I give you the
to
answer.
be quite honest, I don't find the bridges all that worthwhile.
You don't, and I don't either. But
No.
people in our fleet do.
Yeah, I'm gonna
They
hop
invite each
out
other
and
over
show
to
everyone
bridges
the
all the
bridge.
time.
You know, for one thing, for trading, it's really handy. I was given this tip before. You know, if you're off in Alpha Centauri and your friends in like Cardassian space or something, and you guys meet up in fleet chat and want to give something, you just
Where's
invite them
mine?
to your bridge,
Hold
trade
on,
it there,
while I stumble around trying to find.
and
my
then when
bridge.
you leave the
Oh.
the bridge, you're warped back to
oh, my program closed.
where
so I
you
can't show
were
my
when
bridge.
you were invited. So it's handy.
That is handy.
So we'll take a look at Brian's bridge here.
Here I am on the bridge of the.
Constitution.
Must be a refit.
That looks like the that looks like the one in.
This is the basic starting bridge. This
yeah.
is the one you get if you don't buy anything else.
There's,
that's the free
it's
bridge. That's
yeah.
a freebie.
Freebie bridge.
Freebie bridge.
Way to go.
You know what's great about this bridge?
No.
Ugly as crap. Doesn't really even look like Star Trek,
But
except for the L cars.
That huge light in the middle of the floor would light your crotch up.
Yeah, huh?
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah.
Would give
I
your
thought you
crotch
might.
great
I
lighting.
thought you might like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Now come back out here and play this mission with me.
All right, so let's talk about
Yeah,
the
okay.
least liked feature of Star Trek Online?
Crafting. I'll just give that spoiler because
Yep.
everybody hates it. This was like a 50% or something.
34%
Yeah.
of people responded crafting / memory alpha. 20%.
By the
ground
way,
combat.
Huge margin.
in the STO universe, in order to fly your ship, you must leave the bridge.
Uh-huh. Well, you just said that makes perfect sense, right? Yeah,
right.
everybody dislikes Memory Alpha's crafting. And
I do
here's
too.
an idea that was brought up by
I don't
one of
like
our
it either.
fleet mates was if they're going to look into implementing new ship interiors, they could also do a crafting revamp at the same time by giving us something like an engineering bay or a science lab
Oh yeah.
The problem
on our
with that-
ship.
Yeah.
The problem with that is they don't want to make it so you just go somewhere. You have to travel to craft.
Well, you still would have to go around and gather all the bits.
I know. I'm just saying. I think that's they want you to have to travel to craft.
You know what the biggest problem with crafting is? They don't tell you it exists.
Yeah.
You get it in a mission.
Yeah, you,
You
get
get
it in a
assigned-
mission.
You know,
but
I
the
think
way-
we can
the
just
way
sum
the
up that
mission goes. It doesn't
everybody
really
hates it.
Tell you
Yeah, it's very it's
how and why.
it's a half-assed feature that they need to revamp top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, ground combat's weird with the mouse inverted. That's
I told
weird
you.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go kill stuff.
So,
All
so the least liked thing was crafting memory alpha, but the most liked. What do you suppose? I'll give you a couple options. You guys decide. Do you
I know what
think
Brian's is.
Storyline was the most liked
Oh, yeah.
feature? Player versus player was
Dude,
the
if
most.
if the story is not the bottom item on the thing, seriously, the fact that Cryptic puts story
Actually, I would
as an
disagree. I think
option,
the story is good. I think it's the individual mission text.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
but that's like saying
Well, we
I
don't-
had a really cool idea for a book, but it's the worst written book ever in the history of mankind, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to nominate this for the best story ever because
I don't know if
that's
it's the worst
stupid.
ever.
But if it was,
I
think
don't wanna
of
be
it
so
from
mean.
another
Horrible.
direction.
I don't
What
wanna
if
be
you?
so mean, though, because
what
I
if you
I
go
don't care
see?
about mean or nice. It's badly written.
What if you go see a really terrible movie that's based on a really great book? It's still the best story, you know. It's just a really poor screenplay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, but
story is separate from
I feel
scripting.
like you have to classify that. Like you have to make it a separate thing. I like my favorite thing was the story, in parentheses, but not how it's written.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on. If you just say story, then I feel like whoever wrote it can walk around and give themselves a pat on the back and say, "I'm the best effing writer ever." You're not. Holy crap!
You're the best conceptualist.
Seriously.
Well,
Ideas can be
I know what you're
awesome,
saying.
but the writing is
Beam down already,
super
dude.
bad.
Or do you just not want to do this because it's ground?
I really hate ground combat in this game.
Actually, I think this is just a run around and scan 5 things mission.
Oh, good. Those
Yeah.
are fun because
guys-
you can find the scan.
Oh, no.
five
Chris
things
spilled
videos.
beer on himself, you guys.
Alcohol poisoning on his shirt.
Yep.
All right, so okay.
The
so
most
what are
liked
my options?
The
What are
most
my
liked
options?
feature in Star Trek Online.
'Kay.
Story,
No,
player versus player,
no,
or space combat.
space combat.
Yeah, 59% of people. That's the
Yeah.
high. There's no other survey had a higher.
Yeah, the second place is 14%.
None of the rest of the game matters even a little bit. The ground combat is horrible. The story,
Yeah.
and the writing is
I wouldn't say
terribly
horrible, but
What do you think?
it needs
substandard.
some polish.
What do you think, Jeremy? As you've had the most ground combat experience out of the three. of
Well,
us
like
here.
I've said
All right,
a number
everybody.
of times, is ground combat
Oh,
gets
the
better.
crazy man already figured
the
out how to
better
walk.
you are at it.
Like the more abilities you have, the more you sort of assign
And the more-
duties to your buffs. And
Yeah,
stuff like
the
that.
more hands-on you are with your bridge officers, the more effort
Which-
that you put
but
into
that also
it.
means you need to have more bridge officers. Like
You
that
do.
means that you can't do some of that stuff until you're at a certain level because you have to have those abilities.
That's right.
But, I
Okay.
guess, but that's how every game is.
That's
right? You
fine. I
unlock
don't mind
stuff.
that.
Yeah, if you think back to you guys all played World of Warcraft. First 10 levels
Yeah.
were boring as hell because you had
Boring
like
as
2 abilities.
Yeah.
Excruciatingly
it's true.
boring.
Yeah, and then as
Horribly.
more and more opened up, the game became more and more fun on a personal level, even if the content was a
You know,
little
just,
grindy.
like looking at
Yeah,
the.
that's true. That's
looking
true.
So we're right now in the video version. We're looking at Brian's screen, and it's gorgeous.
It is.
Ground combat is just totally gorgeous.
It's really
No,
pretty.
It looks very, very nice. Now, in this particular mission, the job is to run around,
Yeah.
find things that you cannot scan for, even though you
yeah,
theoretically
you
should
can.
be.
Press V.
Yeah, but there's other items that randomly pop up that I don't want
Yeah,
to
the
deal
anomalies.
with. And I really don't want to find the anomalies and then find every single thing that could
The
be
saving
scannable.
grace is bring up your map there, hit M on your map, and then zoom out just a little bit.
Yeah.
You see, so the saving grace is you've got that circle that tells you what area you're operating in, and then generally on these ground combats,
It's
there's a
within that
there's a
circle, yeah.
path that's lit up. The
Right.
path is a slightly lighter version of the ground, and you can follow that.
Yeah, that's true. So it's kind of there is a dummy guide to it.
Eh,
Ground combat for dummies.
Yeah.
eh.
Where's the mouse inversion? I want to turn it off for ground combat.
It's basic. It's right there.
Yeah,
Invert
you know,
camera Y.
it's just so dreadfully dull. It's
This
if
is a
I'm
very
a
dull
captain,
mission.
if I'm a captain of a starship, not doing this. You know what
Nope.
I'm doing? I'm freaking Picard. I'm like, number one, go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
You
not
know
even
what?
number one. Take Ricky and
But you
some
know- you know-
engineering
Yeah,
ensign.
Ricky, go.
And
Go.
you know who
and you know
knows
what?
that?
Take the
Scan
boy.
5 plants.
Take the boy.
Yeah. Wesley Crusher needs to go down to the planet so we can kiss what's her face.
What about a little guy named James Tiberius Kirk? I believe he was a fan of beaming
There, I
down
did it
into
for
the
you.
action. This is more of a Kirkian style
thank
captaining
God.
command.
Yeah,
No, no,
because
no,
we
no,
might
no,
run
no.
into an omnipotent being on this planet while we're scanning for debris.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Remember that one episode of the original series where Captain Kirk scans down to the planet and they're like, Captain, we know that there's 5 plants we need to scan. There's not going to be opposition here. Just walk between them. We don't know where they're at. Just walk around and find them. It's not like a mystery or anything. It's not like you'll find clues and you'll have
Funny-
to figure
I got
it
a funny
out
story for
like
you.
a puzzle. Just walk everywhere.
Please give me a funny story,
and
Chris.
Funny
click it.
retort to Brian's comment, actually.
Oh, yeah?
There actually is an episode of the original series that literally they start scanning flowers.
This I know, but there's
There's
plot
an
to
episode of
that.
Voyager that
There's
does
a
that as well.
plot there. And
Well,
Voyager doesn't count.
The initial intention is Captain Kirk beams down to the planet with Dr. McCoy
To scan
to
flowers.
scan flowers. And then he ends up getting shot with a thing and gets poisoned.
Oh, did that happen
Oh, is that the
just
one
now?
where he loses his memory and all that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
Oh.
really remember. I remember it's this like
So what you're
early
saying
Like a
is-
prehistoric race, and he
What
ends
you're
up
saying is
like getting married and
is the,
stuff.
the little scanning episode I just played. I should have gotten shot, but I just did it wrong.
Yes.
Yeah,
Way
I
to
got
go.
shot. I
Yeah,
was just
you made
doing it. I
me
got
do
shot.
all the thing where they were waiting to shoot you.
What system are you going to?
Dace.
Dace.
The DACE system.
So
All right.
I don't know. I really love the space combat in this game.
Yeah.
I hate every other aspect of this game.
Hate is a very strong
I
word.
hate like I dislike it greatly. I find it 0% fun. Every
It's a
other
good thing you
aspect
play
of the
with me
game.
so I can do half the game for you.
But the space combat, fun. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I have a soft spot for that type of combat, and it looks so good. It scratches that Star Trek itch.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it, wow.
I would say
Huge
the ground
leave it
combat,
type
and
of
I think
game.
I think it pretty much the survey results line up. The ground combat, I don't hate it, but if I had the option, I'm going to play space.
It was on the middle of the list for both least liked and most liked, I believe.
You know what the ground combat serves for me is a good sort of change of pace. That's where the ground combat for me really works really well. Is if I've been blowing
I
up
totally agree with what you're about to say, by the way.
Romulans for a while, it works for me. What are you about to say?
They introduced some sort of bug in the map recently, so it's very hard to click on systems
It's
for
very
autopilot.
hard to click on systems.
Oh, from the
for
area
autopilot.
map?
Yeah.
I've heard they're
Yeah.
working
From the
on
area
it.
map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just a bug. You know what? I can work around bugs. There's lots and lots of bugs in this game. But you know what?
There's lots of bugs in most games.
have lots and lots of bugs. I can work around that. But here's,
Can we talk about that for a sec?
yeah.
Now,
My beer's gone.
would you guys agree? I'll get you another one.
No,
Would
I
you
got
guys-
I got a second
Oh,
one here.
okay. Would you guys agree? Well, dude, I'm already almost 90% through my second one. Do you agree MMOs in general get a easy pass on bugs?
More so recently
Oh,
than
yeah.
they used to as
And
well.
does that
It's become sort of this
I did
moniker.
autopilot, not stopping. I'm just keep on flying.
You're also turning, so you'll stop when you get. See, now you stop.
There we go.
Yeah. So yes, and I think it's become a kind of an epidemic in the industry that people have
It hurts-
taken on this
well,
moniker
here's the
that
problem.
the game's never going to be done. So why ship it when it's finished?
Well, here's how I see it as a
Yeah,
problem.
that sucks.
If the game, this is not a cryptic bashing thing. This is a games ship buggy. MMOs
Mm-hmm.
specifically ship buggy right now.
Well, these days even consoles ship buggy, and they get their
they patch
patches
them.
through Xbox
Yeah.
Live and stuff
That's
like that.
true.
annoying
That's
as
true. But I
heck,
think
isn't it?
I think
It's worse on MMOs.
I think
It
so.
is.
And so the
Yeah.
question is, though, at this point, I guess it would seem to me logical that since World of Warcraft and EVE and a lot of these long-time running MMOs
Mm-hmm.
have been around for so long that a lot of their major annoying bugs are worked out.
Right.
So they almost, so not only are they the incumbent game, but they're also the least buggy. They're going to be the most refined.
polished, yeah.
So as a game developer, like, I was just thinking about this game. This game is huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a very big game.
Yeah.
And comparatively to like Bioshock. Like
Oh,
once
yeah,
I
yeah,
played
yeah.
Bioshock felt small. It was fun, good. Bioshock 2, good. But
Mm-hmm.
small. Like in comparatively, like in scope, it felt small. So how can a game developer ever put out a game as massive as this without a bunch of bugs unless they spend like 5 years R&Ding it? But then how are they ever going to make
Why
any
don't they?
cash? Well, how are they going to make any money?
That's what
Yeah.
the
Millions of dollars.
that's what the publishers are for. Sadly, I could go on a rant for 10 hours about publishers
Yeah.
and the current state of the MMO industry. So let's just move on to the next
All
news
right.
item.
All right. I'd be curious to hear people's feedback out
Yeah.
We've got a lot of news stuff, but a lot of it is stuff that I think a lot of people have probably heard. I was kind of wondering if you wanted to jump into your math section.
Sure.
Should we get math?
Oh, we have math this
Let's
time?
get math.
All
Let's
right.
get mathed. All right, and that adorable jingle means it is time for our math segment.
Now, this isn't exactly like numbers math.
This isn't your standard math segment.
No. What we're
No.
going to do today is
Not numbers
give you a
math.
little bit of a walkthrough for the Special Task Force
It's emotional math.
Infected.
Emo math.
Infected now.
Wait, if I say that again, can you put in a little reverb? Like, infected. Can you do that for me?
I could,
Nope.
but it'd be funnier if I don't.
Yeah. It would be funnier.
All right, so now the Infected is a Rear Admiral only mission, right?
Yes,
so
it is.
us Clown Shoes over here, these Clown Shoe 1 and Clown Shoe 2 over here don't even get to play, but
It's
Clown
just,
Shoe...
just Meat Hole
Clown
has
Shoe-
done it.
Clown Shoe Meat
Clown
Divider gets to
shoe
play.
meat hole.
All right, so...
But I wrote up a whole guide, and we'll publish this in our show notes. And Chris is going to kind of walk through us, and I'll be offering clarifications and stuff to it.
Number one thing, numbers. You need to have a group. You cannot solo this.
Absolutely.
You not only do you need to have a group, but you probably want to take a crack at it with the expectation of failing a few times.
Yeah.
As a group, because you got to be a well-oiled machine.
Now,
Yeah.
it can get a little better if you've got one or two people that have done it already. Some newbies can as long as you're listening, it can be okay.
Do you suspect that there is probably a way to balance the team, like a healing and a somebody that's going to do like mines and phaser turrets?
Yeah, that's one of those-
Or do you need to even bother with that?
That's one of those subjects that everybody's going to have a different opinion on, but I do think that everyone would agree you need a medic, or otherwise you're just going to go through hundreds and hundreds of stem packs, hypo sprays.
Yeah. So
So-
either be totally loaded up on that stuff.
Yeah.
Which if you've seen my
But then you won't have room for
inventory-
your inventory for loots. Yeah, it's all batteries.
If you see my
Oh, you sold a
inventory,
bunch.
it's yeah, I got rid of a bunch. Do I have a shot of my inventory? And
No.
I don't. Sorry, guys.
Aw.
You can kind of see it on that lower screen. I still got a
Batteries and
lot of stuff
tribbles.
in there. Yeah.
Batteries and tribbles.
I've been breeding tribbles. So
I still don't have any tribbles.
I'll give
Well
you
done.
one.
No,
Congratulations.
it's okay. I'm waiting for the game to tell me they exist.
Yeah?
I
It'll
don't
just-
remember when you start getting them. And the
About
way
now.
it works with the tribbles is like you get like just a generic one that doesn't do much for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you breed them through food. And
You know, that's a different math segment, Chris.
okay, all right, sorry. That
I don't
was
think
a
that's
different
really
segment.
math.
You're
That's
right.
more of a culinary issue.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But they give you
And
nice
zoology.
buffs. They
Can,
give
can't you feed like tuna fish sandwiches to tribbles and weird random stuff like that?
yeah, anything they can eat, any food wise.
Yep. Let's get back to infected.
Which
Yeah.
The ideal group, I'd say you have to bring a medic.
Okay.
And I would also highly recommend bringing along an engineer that has a bunker kit, they're called. That's the one that can do force fields and shield domes and stuff like that, cover shields.
Now, here's a little tip that you put in the notes here, and this
Mm-hmm.
is interesting. If you approach the conduit, I don't know what the conduit is.
This is in the space
Who does?
space combat portion at the very
oh,
beginning.
the transwarp conduit.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. You approach the transwarp conduit from the behind, as Jeremy
Mm-hmm.
says, and you're going to avoid basically aggroing an entire swarm of cubes.
But do this
my.
soon because it's already been posted by Gozer on the forums that they're going to be fixing that and making it so that people have to play through the encounter as intended.
Oh, those sneaky guys.
So that little, I guess you might call it an exploit workaround, is going to be fixed soon. So,
All right.
But for now, if you play this over the next day or two,
you can get the surprise on it.
Yeah.
Because the design is you're supposed to be attacked by that swarm.
you're supposed to have to fight your way through that swarm of Borg.
Gotcha.
But you don't have to currently if you approach the conduit from the rear.
From the rear. You just approach from the rear. Follow Jeremy's advice.
I
approach from
live
the rear.
life by Jeremy's advice
Approaching from
of
the rear.
approaching from the rear.
It's
Nice.
good advice
Yes.
All right. So
Take him out from behind.
in games and in life.
what do you mean by if you start losing against the Borg, just wipe? Does that mean just give up?
There's no death penalty.
Oh, so embrace the no death penalty when
Yeah.
you got it. Because you might not always have it.
Now there's
That's
a point.
so cheap,
there's a
though.
point later in this mission on the ground combat where you
Brian, when you and I get there,
you need to not die.
We're going to do it without dying. You and I, we're going to do it without dying.
already done it without that.
You know, this was mentioned actually in
my
that
heart.
same post by Gozer is that when they went
Yes,
through the
sir.
internal play tests, their devs play as if there's a death penalty. They try very hard to not die. So they go through these missions.
So they
and-
play a completely different game than we play?
To be honest with you, that's not how
Yeah.
I play. That's not how I play. But
Hey guys,
Doesn't that kind of blow your mind that they might not have thought about the fact that
use your noodle.
you can die on purpose?
well, come on, give them some credit. I'm sure they've thought of it.
Oh, and also
Now
they
they've thought about
played
it.
the space combat part as if they were actually playing a game called Barbie's Riding My Little Ponies.
No.
And they're just focused on being Barbies on top of My
no,
Little
I
Ponies.
think
No.
it's taking that too far out of context. I'm sure they play for
No.
that. But the idea is they're going to be introducing
You
death
play
penalties
the
soon.
game. It doesn't
are,
matter
yeah.
what they're going to introduce soon. It matters what the game is.
Right,
That's
but
the only
but
thing
if
that
you're
matters.
making content that you want to last for years, you got to at least consider it.
Yeah, but you don't.
but
I mean,
that
if
content,
in 2 weeks you're gonna have a death penalty.
Are they going to have a death penalty in 2 weeks?
Well,
it's possible, not likely, because it's
Okay.
not in the 45-day patch
if they
yet.
do, you'll hear about it here on Stoked.
You will.
So what we're saying is no, they're not going to. So why on earth would they test it
Oh
like
well,
that?
they've said they're going to.
No, but they're not going to right now.
Well, no,
It's
that's
not here
kind of
right
what
now.
I'm getting at is the
They're
fact
playing the
that
wrong game.
they're still having to rebalance these issues because of the way that their internal players play, and it's a little bit of the lack of foresight, and it's kind of funny to me actually because then that
don't-
leads to things like being able to approach the conduit from
don't-
the rear. They never thought of that.
I don't think you're giving
Yep.
them credit. I
And
mean, I
another
think-
thing that people have been doing in this mission in the space combat portion is just rushing the gate, killing it, and get blown up by the 300 Borg that spawn.
because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because all you need, the objective is defeating the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as
Dude, that
that's how I
sounds
would do
great.
it.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
That's how I'd do it.
Yeah.
So they're
for
going to
sure.
be changing that whole encounter so that you have to do it as intended. So
Is that
keep
bad,
your
you
eye
think,
on,
or is
on
that
patch
good?
notes. No, I actually think that they should have to do it as intended. And I keep saying it every time I've run this. I'm like, guys, we're missing something. This doesn't feel right. So so they're going to be changing that. Watch for patch notes and things like that. But
So
let's go
is
ahead.
that how
and-
you've played it now?
no, because everybody just wants to do it the best way, the easiest way, and I kind of agree.
Wait, no,
You know,
by blowing up.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing, guys. That's how Captain Kirk would do it.
Yeah.
He'd do it. He would hack the system and do it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
I believe Captain Kirk destroyed the Enterprise in Star Trek 3.
And like 2 and 1.
Yeah.
No, he did
And-
not destroy it in 2 and 1.
How many enterprises did Kirk go through? At least 3.
2.
Come on, and
1,
that's how he
2.
passes friggin' classes.
Here's
in
how it
college.
goes.
Oh, and the one at the beginning was just a refit.
NCC 1701,
Uh-huh.
NCC 1701A. That's how many ships Captain Kirk had.
Oh, okay.
All right. But he did go from.
Oh my
01
gosh,
to
you
A.
guys! I got a radiation sample.
All right.
Fist bump.
Yay!
Good job, buddy.
Yay!
All right. So moving on with the infected, because I know everybody is.
Yeah, let's skip ahead to the
riveted by
ground
this.
combat portion.
Let's move on to the ground combat.
Oh yeah,
so
because
once you-
ground combat's so much fun.
So
It's
you're-
the bulk of the
you're-
mission.
And it's
Really?
it's Borg drone.
I'm not
combat,
doing
right?
that mission.
Yes. There are basically 2 types of groups of Borg that you will encounter in this mission. One,
What's different in fighting a Borg versus, like, say, a Klingon on the ground?
well, first of all, they will start off without shields. Their shields only raise after they've taken about 10% of their health.
Once they've had a chance to adapt.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's supposed to
Okay.
emulate, I think.
That's cool by me.
It's kind of cool. They have
all
so
right.
many hit points, though, that their shields are just a
So
gigantic nuisance.
Now, are there hit points such that, like, if an entire group all focused fire on one drone, you could get them?
Yeah, they won't last very long if you focus fire. So you need to really do that. You need to
You gotta-
watch what your group mates are targeting.
And coordinate.
Yeah,
that
and assist
sounds
them.
Okay, well, that's
if-
good.
If you're not, I mean, is this mission tough enough that it's almost a must to be like on TeamSpeak or Ventrilo?
I wouldn't say must, especially if you've already done it before and
It
you
just
have
seems
some
like,
experience with, but it is highly
I
recommended.
mean, could you imagine typing in chat that whole thing?
Well, you would just have to be situationally aware enough to be able to anticipate
Yeah.
your partner's moves.
Yeah, I
and
don't know how
go
to do
for
that.
it.
I have
You'd have to be-
situational anxiety.
Oh, I got
So-
something more for you.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad
a
you
good point.
punctuated that.
That's
so
actually a
well.
really good point. That was a lot more fun than the ground combat. So that should work.
You are recommending the pull-out method where you shoot one, pull back, right? Pull
Yes.
back, and
Yes.
then
No, here's the thing though.
Well, let me.
is that is not 100% effective.
No,
Right.
it really isn't. And we do not. Stoked does not endorse that, but we do.
but it
for
works.
this.
The pull-out
The
method
thing
works.
is that the space station that you'll beam down to is so heavily populated that trying to fight one group where it actually is a really, really, really bad idea. So
people
use
in
your line
chat
of
were
sight.
pointing out that it's called
Rhythm.
the draw.
Oh, the draw.
You draw one out.
Oh,
Not
okay.
The pull-out method, Jeremy.
I didn't write the pull-out method.
Oh, are you saying I put that in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm reading the notes. How could I put that in there? All right. Well, so moving on. Now, focus. You need to focus.
I'm
on-
focused.
You got to focus
Yeah.
what you're working on.
This is
I'm
what we were just
focused.
saying. Focus on a single target at a time.
That's the key.
At all times during ground combat, make sure that
that's
anything
what
that
we're
you're
talking
shooting is being
about.
shot by at least one other player or a turret.
Now-
because it'll take too long to take him down alone.
When you've got your kit equipped and all of your inventory is all loaded in the right spots, and
Mm-hmm.
you're ready to fire your load, you want to make sure that you're not abusing AoE attacks.
That's right.
Tell me about
Especially when you're first using the pullout method, because if you are AoEing, you're going to have
Hey, Jeremy.
collateral
Hey,
damage.
Jeremy. tell people what AoE means.
Area of effect. This is because this is so
God.
any type of weaponry that does like a cone or a cylindrical attack or anything like that.
Yep.
When you're first attacking people to pull them towards your group, to draw them towards
Right.
your group.
Yeah.
So when you're
Single
executing
target.
a pullout mission, make sure that when you're firing your load,
Yeah.
you don't affect the entire area. too
Yeah,
much.
when you pull
You don't want
out.
to get it all over the entire
This
area.
entire
Fire
segment
your
is
load.
gone.
All right. And then the last bit of advice is stay alive. That means run for cover, because this is one of those types of episodes where actually dodging and rolling and getting behind objects actually is a vital component to ground combat.
Absolutely.
Which really does
It
spice
goes
up
along
ground
with the
combat.
draw method. It pulls things to you. If they can't target you directly, they'll come towards you to get around the obstacle
Which
that's in your
separates
way.
them from the group.
Absolutely.
which is
Also,
golden.
another thing that AoE will do is draw too many firing you, and these guys pump out a lot of damage. So that's another reason not to abuse your area of effect damage, is because you'll draw too much aggro and you'll just get chewed to pieces in a matter of seconds.
Storyline.
Harsh.
How does
Yeah.
the infected fit into the overall story?
You know what?
what's
This is
the
actually
storyline?
one of my largest gripes is I have still not been able to read the story of the infected, because the mission pop-ups are at terrible locations. They will pop up
That's
when you
passion.
are. They will pop up when you're like 2 inches from being attacked by a Borg. When you're just getting ready, you've popped
Inches,
your buffs.
ladies and gentlemen.
You've popped your buffs. You're ready to open fire on them, and then all of a sudden your science officer will say, "Hey, dude, I got something to tell you," and you're like, "Get the fuck off my screen!"
So you haven't had a chance to read it yet.
I haven't got a chance to read it.
Wow.
It has
That's
something
okay.
to do with
Based on
being
the other ones
infected
I've
by the
read,
Borg.
It's not that big a deal.
Actually, this has something to do with the cure as well. The two of them link together, and I really do wish that I knew the complete story.
Well, you'll get to it.
I
You're going
don't.
to play it more, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the Infected's on production. That's available for people now. The Cure is on Tribble.
Yep.
So it's not like you're like way behind. I mean, it's just rolling out.
Right.
So you'll catch up. You'll figure it out.
Yep.
All right.
Not a bad idea to figure it out.
I have faith that the J-Man, the man divider, will figure
The
it
meat
out.
hole.
You got to have faith.
Yeah. I think he will do it.
You gotta have faith.
So one last thing. You have this broken off very handily into different phases. So the last step would be there's a boss.
There's actually two
And you
bosses.
got to take on the boss, like a boss.
Yeah, there's two bosses. Let me cover the first
Nice.
one real quick,
Nice
because
job
he only
there,
has
Chris.
one tip, and that is that when he gets to about 75% of his hit points, he'll stop combat, and he'll do this little cutscene. He'll start monologuing. And all this basically means is he'll summon more Borg in to join the fight. So fight him on his platform where he starts in the room, because you'll be able to avoid half of the stuff that he spawns in.
Gotcha.
Also, and that's really the only tip for him. Otherwise, he's just a really beefy Borg. He's got a lot of hit points and heavy
Beefy
shields.
Borg.
Yep. But
All right.
okay, so getting to the final boss, though. The final boss is actually in two stages. The first stage is defeating the geometry of the room.
You get caught. Your boss get caught.
Well, no, you don't have any buffs in this.
You get caught?
Yeah.
Even
The entire floor of this room is covered in warp plasma. If you step in the plasma, you will die. It's just
Whoa.
like at the end of First
where
Contact.
are you?
It's
like-
on a space space
is
station.
it cloudy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
So,
so-
it's not. Is it
Yeah.
warp plasma?
Yes.
Or is it warp coolant?
It's the thing that kills you.
Both will kill you.
I'm pretty sure it's warp coolant in First Contact.
It's whichever one stays on the floor.
Hey, Chris, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whichever one's on the floor. Is it green?
Yes.
All right. They got it. That's canon.
Coolant.
I'm happy.
Right?
They got it.
Okay,
It's
so
canon.
in this entire room, there's little platforms and boxes that you have to jump to get to the next section. So it's very kind of Super Mario Brothers. You got to
you're playing-
jump
so you're
to it
playing
and not fall
Banjo-Kazooie.
into-
Got
you
it.
got to not fall in the lava.
You got to jump between boxes and
Yeah.
stuff?
So here's the general strategy at the end. I'm gonna
you have a
How
cut
can
my
you
engines
possibly
here.
do that? The ground control controls are so loose and clobberly.
So you can't. It might take a little
What do you mean?
practice to be able to jump, but obviously Brian's just not good enough at this game. So
No, that's totally the truth.
so don't group with him.
I'm terrible at this game. I don't even go so far as to justify this as a game anymore. This is a space.
Let me tell ya.
dreamy machine where I get to pretend like I'm in Star Trek in space.
Let me tell you a few tips to getting through this last thing. You have 5 members in your team, obviously. Put 2 in the middle. Those 2 people that are in the middle that'll just stay on the central platform their entire job will be to clear the platform ahead of where the other 3 people will be jumping to.
Nice.
Now the reason you need 3.
Oh, so you have somebody that goes in ahead to.
Yes. The reason that you need 3 is at each of these corner stations, there are these 3 little green rods, and each one are separated from each other far enough that you can only activate one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they have to be activated within 3 seconds of each other. So
Oh,
you have to
so-
have 3 people to activate them at the same time, basically.
And if you don't, then they'll all activate again.
They'll just reset themselves and you have to try again. Now, the reason you have to do that is to drop the shield of this node that's also in each corner. There's 4 of these big nodes.
That sounds cool enough.
So you have to drop the shield on these nodes and upload a virus. The whole reason you're uploading the virus is to drop the shield on the central
so it's
large
like Independence
node.
Day.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I know everyone who's big into sci-fi. When Independence Day came out, they're like, "Wow, that storyline is awesome. I love it."
You didn't like Independence Day?
No, I loved Independence Day, but the
I
story
think Brian
was
just didn't like
jank.
that they uploaded a virus to an alien on a Mac.
Yeah.
You know,
no, he was a Mac guy back then.
If it was running Linux, I think he would
I
have been on
believe
board.
the part that got me off was Jeff Goldblum seeing someone sneeze and going, I got it. We're gonna
Oh, I
upload
hate
a
that.
virus,
I
a
hate
computer
that.
virus," and I just wanted to punch him in the face.
I know what you mean. You know, that
It was like a new take on War of the Worlds where like the bacteria killed him. But
Yes.
this time it was a virus.
Yeah, it was a computer virus.
A computer.
God damn it! Screw you, Jeff Goldblum.
Can I continue with the
Here's the
infected
problem.
now?
I actually really like Jeff Goldblum, but he really
Thanks for
pissed me
soloing
off
that
in that
stuff
movie.
for us, Chris.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, the whole thing that you're trying to do here is in this final room is a queen. She's protected by a shield. That
okay.
shield is powered by the central node, which has a shield.
Gotcha.
That shield is powered by these 4 external nodes.
So you've got to
Those
shut
nodes
them
have
down.
shields. So yeah, it's basically a big like breakdown each shield individually until
you
you
get
can
to her.
release the Borg.
That does
She's
sound
not
like
the
Super
queen.
Mario, which is awesome because I love
She's
Super
not the
Mario.
Borg queen. Her name is like Rebecca Simmons, I think it is.
So
and
she's,
she's
like,
like
a
a-
That
rescued,
sounds pretty scary.
She's a rescued, or I mean, she's a human.
She's a Starfleet officer that's been Borgified.
Oh,
Nice.
Do you see any of the uniform?
No, but on some of the
that is
other
so cool.
infected that are on the station, you will see them. They'll be like wearing full uniforms with a headpiece on.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, you just auto-targeted that mine there.
Way to
You
go.
were just complaining. Oh, that was Raptors.
Yeah, no, yeah, the little
Raptors, that's
fighters.
right.
Yeah, I can't auto-target those.
These guys are actually kind of surprisingly affecting
Well, you just
my...
took on an entire fleet.
I know. I'm doing fine. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that it's surprising that they're able to do things like drop my shields. And
I don't
stuff
find
like
it
that as
surprising.
much
You're
as
not
they
very good at this game.
are. You just said I'm taking on an entire
Man,
fleet.
Jeremy loves to tell everyone he's bad at this game.
You just said I'm taking on an entire fleet.
And by the way, if you
that
don't
I
follow
have
m-
beaten,
Yeah,
that I've beaten, and then you tell me I'm not very good.
you're like 20 levels above, 23 levels above them.
What am I doing right now? I'm doing a podcast and I'm playing a video game. Quite well. And how much video game are you playing right now?
Not because I'm trying to
Multitasking.
tell the good people at home
All right,
how to
I'm
beat
sorry.
the infected mission.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't
But
mean
you
to
know what?
interrupt.
We have been so hopping around that this is kind of a worthless guide, I think.
No, I like
What?
it.
What?
I like it. Plus,
This is the only guide I need.
we should always point out that the entire write-up, the very, very good write-up that
Thank
Jeremy
you.
did, is available.
Thank you.
In the show. It is good, dude.
Pat myself on the back on
JupiterBroadcasting.com is where you,
You know,
find
we
that.
talk about it, but
Yeah.
if you look at it, this is his write-up here. Starting right there. See
Wow,
what
look
it
at those
says, math?
words. That's so many
math,
words.
Right? And then his
Holy
entire
moly.
write-up goes all the way down.
There's some
This is
great
all
tips in
write-up.
there, by the way, guys.
So, definitely worth checking out JupiterBroadcasting.com for the
So,
entire show.
but there's only one more step that I have to tell you about, and this
Right,
is
lay it
the
on
queen
me.
herself, the Rebecca Simmons pseudo queen thing. Once she's released, she will fly towards you. Yes, she flies on these like electrical things that shoot out towards the ground. Don't stand underneath her because the electric will hurt you.
oh my gosh. I want
Don't
electrical
cluster up together because she does a massive AoE that rips down your shields, and then she follows that up with another AoE that rips down your hit
things.
points.
Hey guys, I know this really isn't in the budget, but do you think we could spend a bunch of money on refitting the studio to have electrical things that help me fly?
Yes,
F, why not?
I'll cross-dress if that helps.
that
That
helps
does
a
help.
lot.
That
Yes.
helps a great
Okay,
deal.
all right, cool.
And on that note, I believe I'm done with math.
Really? You don't want
Yeah.
to cover anything else? Because
No,
I like
check
it.
out the full thing.
Yeah.
I know I've missed some things.
Well, do you want? Did you cover it all? And maybe it's worth covering which weapons are the best, most effective.
Yeah, let's
in it?
just give you a
Okay.
few general tips.
So you've
First of all,
got-
every group that you encounter that's a stationary Borg group will have a interleak node. You have to kill that first
Okay.
before you can kill the Borg. Otherwise, when you deplete their hit points, they just become disabled and then they'll resurrect themselves.
Right.
So kill the interlink nodes first whenever you can. Bring somebody with you that knows where they are because a few of them are hidden.
Oh,
If you
we
have
we
that
don't
option.
call them inner.
and there's certain weapons that are going to be better than other weapons, right? You've got anti-protons, disruptors, phasers.
Anti-proton, yeah, just what you said. Anti-proton,
Plasma's
disruptors.
bad. Tetrion's bad.
Plasma is the best of the bad, but it's still pretty bad. This is because there are a lot of medical drones on the station which can and will extinguish the plasma fires almost as soon as they land. So that extra little bit of damage, you're not getting any benefit from it.
All right.
Tetrion and Polaron are bad because a lot of Borgs don't have shields, so Tetrion does no good because it takes down shields.
Yeah, it's meant to eat
A
away
lot
the
of
shields.
Borg have no weapons, which is what Polaron does, is disable their weaponry.
Polaron.
So half the time, if you use Tetrion or Polaron, half the time your special bonus to the weapon is not doing a damn thing.
So are those Borg just walking up to you and hitting you with
Yes.
infection?
Yep, they're trying to assimilate you.
Okay.
What a bunch
the
of
name.
jerks.
Yes.
Hence the name. All right. And
So
then what about
use anti-proton because the Mark 10 stuff that you can buy with your high-end Admiral stuff all has very good DPS, very good crit modifiers, very consistent damage.
what
so
if
that's
I have
that's a good one.
An awesome batlet.
That is sometimes a good idea if you use it for primarily knockbacks, especially in the final room. I forgot to mention this. If you knock a Borg into the plasma, they die.
Oh, so that could be.
Yeah.
So if you had a
Fancy.
dude who's running around with a batlet, you think that's a waste, or do you think that could be a valuable addition to?
No,
the
that's absolutely valuable. But you got to remember that once you disable all the shields and the Borg Queen aggro's on you, you won't be able to switch your weapons. So if you're going to be using a Batleth in that last room clearing, you have to be good enough with it that it's going to be good against the Queen,
Right.
basically. So keep that in mind.
I got you.
I will keep that in mind.
Generally speaking, though, don't use your melee attacks against the Borg that you'll fight on most of this mission for two reasons. One is that they will root you a lot of the time. They use a lot of roots that make you unable to move.
so if you're stuck in one spot,
if you're stuck in a spot like 20 feet from the nearest target and
stuck.
all you have
You're
is
screwed.
melee, you're not doing
you
anything.
can't reach him.
You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And that's worthless. The other
Worthless.
thing is that the Borg have very strong melee attacks of their own, so you don't really want to get close to them.
Because in a fist fight, they might kick you.
They will kill you.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
They won't even kick you in a fist fight. They're going to kill you.
No, I
Murder.
mean, they'll bring nanoprobes to a fist fight. You know what I mean?
Proton armor and shields seem to reduce the Borg's damage during ground combat.
Yeah, so this is, again, the stuff that you can buy with your Mark 10, like exploration marks and stuff like that, that you can get as an Admiral in the Gamma Orionis sector. Buy those. They're purple. That already means that they're good. They're better than normal shields. But also, if you get the anti-proton stuff, they seem to reduce the amount of energy weapon that Borg do.
Okay. All right.
Hi,
That's all
Brian's
good stuff.
phone.
Hey,
So with that right there, people are already going to do a great job.
I hope
awesome
so.
job.
And then before you go in, just check out the show
Yeah,
notes.
if you need more tips, go to jupiterbroadcasting.com. Check out this episode of Stoked, and right down below the show, down there, we'll have a complete write-up.
You know what I think?
awesome.
I think when I get to that spot and when Brian gets to that spot, I will do our first gameplay. We'll stream.
So let's see,
probably in about I
a
would
year.
say, let's see, it's 2010.
Yeah. So
So if you're still watching Stoked in 2013, you're gonna get to see us play the. No, I kid.
if the world hasn't ended in 2012,
I kid, you guys. I kid. We'll play.
You
it.
sure do.
I'm a joker.
we'll get
everybody.
some footage from it. And actually, we did some recording last night of The Cure that I think we're going to put on the next episode.
Hopefully, and then
Yeah.
Actually, while we're talking about stuff that we're gonna include in the episode, should we get to our media segment?
Yeah.
I think we should.
Do you guys want to play? You want to play us out with the media segment? Should we?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll play us out with the media.
Well, let's
segment.
intro it real quick. Just tell people what it is.
Go ahead. Well,
Uh,
we streamed it too. So you guys,
Yeah.
if you're not watching, if you're not following us over at facebook.com/JupiterBroadcasting, you might want to consider doing it because lately, actually twice in the last week, we streamed some live fleet actions with the Jupiter Force
Mm-hmm.
over at JupiterBroadcasting.com/live. And one of the things we did was a runabout mission.
Yeah.
Fancy.
We had like 20 plus people from our fleet, all in runabouts. Those cute little things you can buy at DS9. They cost like 143,000 credits. If you haven't gotten one, though, go ahead. It's totally worth it. They're so much fun.
Yeah, they're cool. You get to fly around in a shuttle and blow stuff up.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
And they're limited, so that's
They've only got like 2 weapons, and
Yeah.
they have really crappy shields and low hull, but
Oh, whatever.
it's really fun to do stuff, and you'll see.
So we decided to take on a few of the classic things of Star Trek Online in our runabouts.
Fantastic.
In this media segment.